but blended strategy.
Fantastic. I think that's great. And we're going straight to how a client actually implements it. So I'm going to ask two people who've done some phenomenal work. So Prasant and Amarnath, we had a lovely conversation. You both come from industries that could be looked at as a traditional point of view, but as kind of blended it beautifully. So what I would start is with either one of you, and I remember Amarnath, if you want to, we had a lovely discussion about the insight you had. So we'd love your hands-on experience about the challenges, how you blended it, insight, so everyone can go home with some great.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for setting up the context. Clearly, we are in the cohort 4 in terms of blended sort of comms. But it's important to acknowledge two facts and just building on to that context. That today, as she said, we are living in an ecosystem which is like an omniverse because consumers are shopping in brick and mortar at the same time they are shopping online. So it's a seamless integration of information that needs to flow into them. But what's important is to clearly identify, as Sridip said in the morning during his discussion, that it's not one consumer cohort. You can't say 15 to 25 housewives and that's how sharp you're going to target. No, it's not about that anymore. It is India within India, and within that India, who are you micro-targeting to? Let me give an example. What at Cycle Agarbatti, our core communication line is everyone has a reason to pray. Now, prayer has different meanings for different consumer cohorts. The housewife who lights 2 sticks of Cycle Agarbatti in the morning, she prays for health, wealth, and happiness. And that's what our brand 3-in-1 stands for. The youngster who's praying for the last wicket, that one crucial wicket in the last over, or that 6 in the last over. We are part of the cricketing circle. We are, for a decade, we stand for the third umpire. So, Cycle Agarbatti always, when the third umpire signal goes up in key matches of India, you have the Cycle Agarbatti with it. So we also believe that even the younger generation has a reason to pray. The only thing that's changed is that they are praying for India, they are praying for their needs, and different cohorts pray for different things. The third thing I think which has really changed is the entire ecosystem of e-commerce and quick commerce, which has really boomed. Today, consumers are paying a premium for convenience, and it's important for us to realize that fact. And hence, we are also available in this channel. And festive season becomes one of the most critical forms of communication to them. At that point of time, we dial up spirituality, we dial up festivities. Again, it stands for everyone as a reason to pray, but what you dial up during that moment is very critical. And just for information for this audience, we also experiment in our D2C platform, which is cycle.in. So any new product we launch, we experiment on D2C, and then we actually expand it to e-commerce and then to brick and mortar. So for example, during this festive season, we are launching, we have a brand called Naivedya Cup Samrani, which is in a cup format which you like. We're launching 3 new fragrances of it. We have rose and jasmine and one more, which we are launching this festive season. We've piloted, taken a lot of feedback from consumers in our D2C platform before launching on e-commerce in this festive season and then scaling it up. So it's important, while it's important to have consistency in messaging, but at the same time it's important to listen to the consumer, evolve our products, evolve our comms, and then to micro sharply target it to these consumers across different platforms. And finally, consistency is the key. You have to have a blended messages. You cannot have distracting messages for different platforms.
Wonderful. I think when you think of FMCG, you think of really smart marketing. You hear this often. And that's why I actually wanted to go to Prashant next. You're in a very interesting field, right? Money view. How do you use the blended technology? How do you use blended marketing?
Firstly, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for the question. And yeah, I think Mansa also set the context very well. See, I don't think that there is any traditional, non-traditional media per se in terms of media mix. Yes, it's there when you do your media planning. But if I look at it, I think consumers now have multiple places to consume information from, right? And I think that one point that we make, I think something that we stay very true to is you build for that particular platform. You don't try to force fit what you've created for a larger communication to work for a particular platform. You build as per what is working on that particular platform, right? So whether it's a TV ad that you're trying to sort of merge and make into something that you can run on social media, it doesn't really work, right? And if I talk about I would say more than the media being converged between traditional and the new age media, it's also about the product experience being merged with what you're talking about. Because I think UI UX that has to speak the same tone that you're talking about on whether it's traditional, whether it's new age, whatever you are talking about, right? I think an example, so I can talk from both my experiences, both at Flipkart and at MoneyView. So at Flipkart, I think we are at Big Billion Days right now, and I think that is a prime example of all media channels working together towards a common sort of message to the consumer, and he consumes it from multiple places, some which are a lot more targeted, some which are talking about macroeconomic reasons why people shop during this time, right? So they address that. And when I come to MoneyView, I would say that I think a seamless experience, for example, is that we recently, while we were predominantly in the personal loan category, we've also launched a slew of products in the past few weeks, past few months, ranging from digital gold to FD marketplace and all of that. A learning in digital gold, because we have an association with CaratLane, for example, is that a consumer can buy digital gold from us and they can go and exchange it at the CaratLane counter and buy jewelry from it, right? So I think, so the communication also has to follow the path that the consumer is taking in terms of their purchase journey. So I think my advice to sum it all would be to not really look at media as traditional versus digital. I think you should look at where consumer conversations are happening the most, where are your conversions actually taking place and having an impact there. It doesn't really matter whether it is traditional or digital. And I would actually say that a common message for all media channels sometimes works. Sometimes you'll have to have different nuances of the same message, right? So I think it varies from situation to situation, industry to industry. So there's no playbook per se, but yeah, that's been my experience.